Buying a car in this car market is extremely tricky. Some cars are up, some cars are down. Should you wait 3 to 6 months to buy a car? There are so many questions, and unfortunately, none of us know the exact right answers. And sure, we can look at trends and data and make some educated predictions, but the reality is, if you would have asked me in 2019 if my 2007 Ford Focus would be worth more in 2022 than it was whenever I bought it in 2018, I would have told you that you were out of your mind. And yet, here we are. The truth is, though I do have a good idea as to where the car market could be heading, I can't tell you with 100% confidence which car you should buy and at which time you should buy it in order to get the best deal. But there is one thing that I can tell you with confidence, and that is which cars to avoid buying right now. And I can give you this data because by looking at used car prices, I'm able to look at the cars that simply have not depreciated as much as comparable vehicles. So we have a pretty good idea of which cars are still inflated in price and thus at risk of falling in the next few months and potentially leaving the buyer underwater. And so in this video, we're going to be discussing just that. And I'm going to be breaking down the cars that you should avoid buying currently in present day. And I'm going to talk about why you should avoid buying these cars and which alternatives you could look at if buying at a decent price is your number one priority. But before we dive into that, I would like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Clio. We all know the importance of saving money, sticking to a budget, and building your credit. And this is true whether you're somebody who's wanting to save for a Turo car, whether you're wanting to start a side hustle or business, or if you're somebody who's just wanting to save for retirement in order to set yourself up financially. The problem though is that taking control of your finances can be daunting, confusing, and, well, boring. The good news is Clio's here to help. Clio is a financial app that not only simplifies your finances, but also makes managing and engaging with your finances on a day-to-day basis easy and fun. With Clio, you can set up customized saving plans to help you reach your specific customized saving goals, which Clio will help you create. And one of my favorite features is Clio Chat, which is a feature that allows for you to chat with Clio in order to get regular check-ins for your finances. For example, you can ask Clio how much you spent on groceries for the month, or you can ask it something like how much is left in your entertainment budget. Bringing awareness to your spending habits in a non-judgmental way is one of the best ways to gain control of your finances. And with Clio, you can do this effortlessly. For example, I've been using Clio over the last couple of months, and I've come to realize that I spend way too much money on groceries each and every month. And because of this, I've been able to hone that down a bit and save some more money. Budgeting, saving, and building your credit is vital to your long-term financial success, and Clio is a great tool to help anyone do this, regardless of your experience. To gain control of your finances and to download Clio for free, check out the link down in the description below, as well as in the pinned comment section of the video. Thank you, Clio, for sponsoring this video. Now, the first car on this list that you should absolutely avoid is a car that's actually appreciated in value in the last 30 and 60 days, and that is Pontiac. Pontiacs have appreciated consistently over the last year, and even as the car market is crashing and burning, Pontiac keeps plugging away. As I record this video, Pontiac is up a whopping 23% year over year, and they're up 2.3% in the last 30 days. Now, I do think it's important to note that Pontiac has been discontinued, and because of that, they aren't manufacturing new models. And some Pontiac models do have a cult-like following, which could be the source for the appreciation. For example, the Pontiac Grand Prix has appreciated 10% in the last 30 days alone. Now, if you consider yourself somebody who's looking to buy a Pontiac because you're a Pontiac enthusiast, then I probably would disregard this advice entirely because short-term value isn't as much of a concern in this case. But if you're somebody who's looking to buy a daily driver or a car to get you from point A to point B, then I would probably steer clear from Pontiac. If you're looking for a more affordable alternative, Chevy could be an option for you as they've depreciated more than 5% over the last year. Next up is Jeeps. Now, Jeeps are notorious for holding their value, so I have to be honest, I was never expecting these cars to sink like a rock once the car market shifted. And because of this, I'm not surprised to see that the depreciation rate is much slower than other comparable cars. While most manufacturers are down anywhere from 2 to 10% year to date, Jeeps are actually up 5.3% year to date. And there is actually one reason and one reason only as to why this is the case, and that is the Jeep Wrangler. While most Jeep models from the Renegade to the Cherokee to the Commander are seeing double-digit declines year over year, anywhere from 3% to 11%, the Jeep Wrangler is actually seeing an appreciation of 21% year over year. Now, again, I'm not exactly surprised to see that this is the case because of the fact that love or hate Jeeps, you have to admit that these cars hold their value extremely well. But if finding a car below market value is your #1 priority, then Jeeps may not be a good place to look. As an alternative, believe it or not, you could actually look at the Ford Bronco, which has actually depreciated 4.3% year over year. The high-end luxury or exotic segment is another segment that I would avoid at least for the time being. Now, I think it's really interesting because I do wholeheartedly believe that the high-end luxury and exotic segment is not going to follow the same price trends that the general used car market has been seeing and experiencing over the last year. And I don't think that they will continue to follow these trends in the future either. This segment is very unique, and there are a lot of factors at play here that aren't affecting the general used market. While all cars and all manufacturers are experiencing issues with production, supply and demand, the chip shortage, and more, the exotic and high-end luxury segment are experiencing these exact same issues, but some other very unique factors, which includes the rise of electric vehicles and thus the death of the V12 and possibly even the V10, hybrid vehicles, automatic transmissions replacing manual transmissions. Because of these factors, I think there's a high likelihood that the exotic and ultra-high luxury market will never turn to prices that they were at 3 years ago, because of the fact that the changes to exotic car manufacturing could mean these older exotic cars could become collectibles and thus appreciate even more. I think many of these cars have hit their depreciation bottom and thus they are only going to appreciate from here on out. In fact, if you've seen my videos before, you know that I talk a lot about buying at the lowest point in the depreciation curve, which is basically the idea that you buy a car at the point in which it has depreciated the most it will ever depreciate. And once a car has hit its depreciation bottom, it will either just retain its value or sometimes it will even appreciate in value. I have found that many of the cars that had hit their depreciation bottom pre-pandemic have actually since appreciated and most likely will not go back to that pre-pandemic pricing. A great example of this that I've talked about on this channel before is the Lamborghini Gallardo, which pre-pandemic you could buy an '04 Gallardo for anywhere between $70,000 and $80,000. Now it's virtually impossible to find that same trimmed Lamborghini for less than $100,000. And another perfect example of this is the Lamborghini Diablo, which, believe it or not, 10 years ago, these were selling for less than $100,000. And today, these cars are selling anywhere between $500,000 and $1 million, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, keep in mind, these are just a few different examples, and not every make and model is going to appreciate over time. But I do think that due to these factors that I just talked about, exotic and ultra high-end luxury cars are going to be playing by their own rules for the foreseeable future. I would say that if you're somebody who's looking to buy a car within this segment, do research to figure out the exact type of car that you're wanting to buy. I'm talking about knowing the trim, the make, the model, the year, the mileage, basically every single factor that will dictate the pricing of that car. Then simply pay attention to car market sites and figure out how much these cars are realistically selling for. I think that over the next 3 to 6 months, we may see a decrease in pricing, but I wouldn't hold off too long if buying one of these cars in this segment is something on your to-do list, because I do think long term these prices will go up. Moving on to something in a much less sexy segment, and that is vans. Why buy an exotic car whenever you can buy a van? Of all of the vehicle segments out there, vans are one of the ones that have appreciated the most over the last year. And the thing that's interesting about vans specifically is that most other vehicle segments saw the bulk of their appreciation in the second half of 2021, while vans saw the bulk of their appreciation towards the end of 2021 and into the first half of 2022. So they almost had like a delayed reaction to the car market as a whole. So when keeping that in mind, it makes sense that they're almost having a delayed reaction to the depreciation of the car market as well. I also want to emphasize that the types of vans that I'm talking about are commercial focused vans. So cargo vans, passenger vans, work vans. I'm not talking about minivans that you would use to commute your family to and from work or school. Vans are actually up 9.02% year over year, while personal minivans are down 2.5% year over year. So if you're somebody who's in the market for this type of van, then I would potentially encourage you to either A, look at minivans if you're able to retrofit a minivan to your commercial needs, or alternatively look at trucks. All in all though, if you're somebody who's in the market for a used car, then the market is definitely turning to your favor. And I would say that if you need a car right now, you absolutely could find a good deal on one, but if you're in a position to wait, then of course waiting may be the best thing to do. Production is ticking up, the economy is getting worse, and the chip shortage is slowly but surely getting sorted. And all of these factors are going to play a heavy role in how the car market fares in 2023. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.